Hi, in previous videos, we were discussing about hypothesis. What do you mean by hypothesis? What is the need of hypothesis? Why we have setting hypothesis? Then what are different types of hypothesis like that? And in today's session, we'll be discussing about functions or role of hypothesis. That is, why do or what is the role of hypothesis in our research work? And also we'll be discussing about the sources of hypothesis. That is, from where we get hypothesis, from what base, on what base we will be setting up hypothesis. These things will be discussed in this video. So now we can discuss functions of hypothesis. So first function is hypothesis helps in making observation and experiments possible. That means the hypothesis, that is, we know that hypothesis means it is a tentative solution or it is a assumption on a research work. It is not necessary that the hypothesis should be true. So it helps us when we are or while we are setting a hypothesis, it helps us to make observation, to observe things in a good manner or to observe more things for doing our research work. And also it helps us to test our variables. That is, it when we are having a good observation, we can know more about the variables, and also we will be it will be more helpful us to have good experiments on those variables. So hypothesis helps in making observation and experiments as much as possible. Now next one is it becomes the start point for the investigation. That is, from the hypothesis setting up or only after setting up a hypothesis we'll be starting our research work. Why it is like that? That is, without having a goal we cannot attain something, or without having a goal there is no meaning of doing something. So that goal should be set up. So we can assume hypothesis as a goal. So to start an investigation we should set up a hypothesis. It is the starting point. So from that hypothesis or from that point we'll be studying whether actually we are studying or when we do our research work we are trying to make true or false about our hypothesis. So without hypothesis we cannot do anything or we cannot have a good study. Now third one is hypothesis helps in verifying the observations. That is, when we observe something or when we have some results with us, hypothesis help us in verifying. It helps us to check whether these are true or whether these are false, whether these are replicate, whether these are similar. Everything will be tested by using, or everything can be experimented by using hypothesis. And last one is it helps in directing the inquiries in the right direction. That is, when we are having doubts, hypothesis help us to go in a direct way, or it helps us to have good inquiries. It helps us to have a right direction. According to that, we can conclude or we can have a good solution. We can find out a good solution for a problem. So these are the functions or role of hypothesis. Next, we can study about the sources of hypothesis. That is, from where we get these hypotheses. So first one is the resemblance between the phenomena. So what do you mean by resemblance between the phenomena? So resemblance means it is something similar. So we can study about, or when we are studying about a particular problem, we can just go through similar problems which had already been in excess, or similar solutions which we had already received, or which we were practicing on those situations. So all those things comes as sources. Then second type of sources, observations from past studies, present day experience and competitors. That is another one. Observation, that is when we are observing or when we are having a literature review, there also we will be having we might find similar problems there, or we might find same situation there. So these things, what the competitors have done, if our profit is less or if our product demand comes down, what did the competitor did when their demand was going down? So all those things, that is another sources. Or what study did they do? What was their hypothesis? Like that. Then scientific theories. Scientific theories means those theories which the thinkers has already been founded, or which theories which are propounded by many thinkers. So those scientific theories. Then general patterns that influence the thinking process of people. That is, when what I'm thinking won't be the same matter what the other person is thinking. So the general pattern that influence the thinking process of people. So in simple way, if from where we get so hypothesis means it is from the thinking or thinking power or the reading ability of a person or of the researcher. So these are the role, function and sources of hypothesis.